It involves a lot of hands-on critical thinking, so if you enjoy actually doing stuff and not just listening to a lecture, enjoy thinking things through and problem solving, and there's a little bit like mathematics involved. I think it'll be a plus in my further life if I ever need to figure something out that's wrong with something. It's a lot like it. It uses mainly English, but you have to know certain commands. We use camel case, so you have to know when to capitalize a letter and when not to. Different, like if you put like a squiggle above a certain letter, it means something different than if you don't. That I would definitely recommend it. It was a lot of fun and it could help in many different career choices, anything that involves electronics or technology. And so the Coding 1 class is kind of like building a base for Coding 2, and then you learn more interesting things in Coding 2.
Okay. Well, first of all, the majority of the class we use Connects to build a lot of different kinds of projects. So it's a lot of hands-on building. Mr. Triola up in the middle school, I visited up there and saw some of the things he did, and that certainly got an interest for myself. I also went to a continuing education class, a STEM class at Penn State Behrend, and learned a few more ideas that I then brought some of these ideas to Mr. Menno and presented the opportunity to start this Math Connections class. I really enjoy teaching the class. It's certainly a relaxed atmosphere. The students are up, moving around most every period, and I just like that kind of atmosphere. It's fun. It's a fun class for the students. It's a fun class to teach as well. I think that this class gives a look at engineering and hands-on building in a fun way. And I think if kids like designing things and working with Connects and kind of playing in that way, it's a fun elective class that they should sign up for. At the end of the course, throughout the course we do a lot of team building, and each team builds the same thing. At the end of the course, we have a couple big projects. This is actually one of them we're working on right now, that we come together as a class and build an entire amusement park. So each individual, each team can build their own rides, design their own rides, and then we set up an entire amusement park as a class, and we go down to the grand lobby and set it all up. And it comes together and it looks pretty neat.
Mr. Salsanto is actually a really good teacher. He's kind of laid back, and it's kind of nice to have one of those teachers. He's very interactive with all of us, and it's one of those things where we can have those days where we're not really working on things, and it's kind of hard, but he knows and can understand us very well.
Math Connections is a fun class. You get to really learn how to engineer and work together as teams and communicate with other people. And it's for freshmen through seniors, so you get to know all kids from different grades. My favorite part is probably working with different people on different things. So we've worked on bridges and towers, and then we've incorporated those things together, and just working with different people is always fun. I recommend it because it's a quarter class, so it's not very long, and you're still learning new things with everything you do, from bridges and towers, and it's very interesting.
The AP Calculus 2BC classes each year study a unit of applications of all the mathematics they've been working on. One of the applications is designing and building a three-dimensional figure, both physically and then theoretically.
It's taking a problem using abstract ideas and making it into some concrete thing.
You have to decide what materials you want to use and when you're going to do it.
A lot of the stuff we do has real life meanings where a derivative is like the rate of change of something. So let's say like a flow rate or emptying something out. So the amount of work it might take to empty a swimming pool, where that is always changing because the water is like coming from different heights because there's always different amounts in it. So like that is a real life application of how much stuff you're gonna actually need to do.
They choose a material of choice to design and build their three-dimensional object. They then have to slice it into pieces to compute the volume physically by hand. Then they design the calculus equations that will actually compute the volume for them.
It's a good thing to do, and there's a lot of real life application, and it's a good class to take because it helps you think better about certain problems.
It's a great project of problem solving, applications of math, and using the formulas that they've been studying.